computer. Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Whiskey Sour Libations and Conversations. I'm your girl, Dominique, and I have some very special guests. I say that every week, but they very, very, very special to me. If you're watching, you can see it's my people, my favorites. Cameron and Cash. Can I call you Cash?
Yes, you can.
Or you want your government name?
You can say Kashif.
Kashif.
Yes.
You know my country ass so country. I'd be like, who Kashif?
Right.
So nobody say that.
I've been with
like
5 years and I say Kashif. Lord.
Look, nobody say Kashif. We be like Kashif.
Off into it. Yeah.
That's hilarious. I want to welcome y'all to my show.
How cute you are.
Thank you. You know, I've been
so
trying,
Wow.
you know.
Very alt vibes.
Ew. Black girls can be out too.
Absolutely.
I'm bringing y'all here today because it's just so much to talk about.
Yes.
I mean, you guys have so much to talk about. And you guys have a new publication out called Liberated. So I want to get into all of that and how come y'all ain't put me on that shit to be writing for y'all. Y'all know I got a journalism degree. I feel some type of way.
So funny.
You know,
So
hi, welcome guys. Tell me
Hey.
about yourselves. Tell us about the new publication. I'm so freaking excited, by the way.
So we started, honestly, it's more even of a community space, right?
Mhm.
And it's called Liberated. It's a Patreon page, but within that there is a magazine, which is what launched the idea initially. And the magazine is just a reflection of the space, which is just an exhibit of Blackness, Black people and Black culture existing on all spectrums, not just the standard, spectrums of existence,
the quote unquote
that we
norm.
see.
Right.
That we see all the time. And we already don't have that much visibility as people. Yep. And when we do, it's very heteronormative, but there's Blackness outside of all of that. There's queer lives, there's disabled people, there's
trans
but
community.
that's on the queer spectrum as well. People who are fat, everybody is not tiny and muscled up. So it's just Black life and Black existence documented and shared.
Yeah,
I think that's like so freaking dope. That's amazing. Because I think when we think of us, we've been seeing more and more posts about when we say Black Lives Matter, we mean the trans LGBTQ, disabled, all of that. Like we always, like you said, associated just with one thing, but it should be all inclusive, all inclusive Black.
There is no word that is excluding, like there's no exclusive word in that, it's Black lives. So if you are Black and you're alive, you matter, right?
Not Black and alive. I mean, a lot of people be dead inside, and,
but I'm just saying,
we ain't including those people that subscribe.
If you have a Black life, whether you're living now or if you've passed away and transitioned, that encompasses all Blackness.
All the Black spectrum of being.
Can we put an asterisk next to that and say not the people that subscribe to white supremacy?
You know what?
I have to include them too? Oh, okay. Never mind.
Listen, their lives matter.
We just don't affiliate with them.
You know what?
I forgot this is broadcast.
I mean, hey, this is freedom of speech here.
I'm gonna keep it real.
Look, I'm just look what I just said.
Yeah, their lives matter, but you know what's gonna happen? They just gonna perish in the flames of liberty. Because we gonna get this liberation, whether they like it or not, and they can crumble with white supremacy and be with their oppressors. But I love you.
So we have so much going on right now. Some of it, even as recent as Haiti, people coming here to seek asylum, and the images that we've just seen recently in the media down in Texas, them being bunched together and being whipped, very, reminiscent of, did I say that right? I always feel like I say reminiscent wrong. Is it reminiscent or is it reminiscent?
Reminiscent is fine. You said how you want to
I was really, yes, that's yes. You know, like slavery. What are some of the things, like, what are y'all takes on that? Like, I know, because y'all, your social camera been very quiet. It ain't just been as loud regarding that, but like,
and we'll get into that as well. But also, I was talking to KC, who's a friend of all of ours as well, yesterday, and the way that they described it is people love to share and overshare this Black trauma, this trauma porn.
Yeah.
Right. So it is very traumatic. So my thoughts on it, I don't like every day if we open up our phones, we're gonna see something traumatic. So I hate that it's so routine that it's like, oh, so what do you think about? I don't fucking want to think about it. Unfortunately, I don't have that privilege. But it's trauma porn, and they even described it as white people around the globe are masturbating to this because the violence that they project against Black bodies and Black lives, it's what fuels their continuing, you know, they're perpetuating this violence. So it's a lot. It's a lot, but it's traumatic. Ultimately, what I'm saying is it's traumatic.
I don't know if you guys watched Lovecraft Country last summer.
Yes.
So I listened to the podcast, and I believe it was Erica Buddington, and she was a writer on the show. And her description of what happens to Black people, she described, because we never really see Black people really exist in horror films. And she pretty much described our lives every day as a horror story. She's like, Black trauma is Black horror. So that's how, and it's really as simple as that. We think about everything that we go through, even something as crazy as like Candyman, and how Candyman came to be. And we think about him being lynched by a mob of white people back in the day because somebody's sister or whatever loved him and they fell in love, and so they killed him. So we think about these fictional tales that are very much reality for us. I think it's so funny. When I was in St. Louis, my I'm gonna get her ass on here. My aunt was telling me, she's like, I think you're kind of racist. And I'm like, me? Racist? I don't think Black people can be racist.
Well, it's not about thinking Black people can be racist. We can't. So there are things in life that are called opinions and facts. It may be an opinion that someone is a good singer, and in someone else's, they may not be. But it's a fact that ice is also water. Like, it's a different form. Like, that's not arguable. It's a different form of water. It's just frozen, right? So that's a fact. And the fact of the matter is that racism is not just minimized to intolerance or prejudice or dislike or disdain. I can dislike and be prejudiced against anything all day. The difference is racism comes with institutional power, with the ability to oppress and keep down an entire demographic of people. Black people don't have that type of collective power, and we certainly don't have it individually. So you cannot be racist. There's not an institution behind you that supports the marginalization of white people.
Exactly. And how I broke it down to her, I was just like, listen, we are just in a space of, you and I talked about this, and Cash, like, chime in, whenever you're ready. How, you know, we always think about Black people, and we always correlate us wanting equality with white people, and we talk about it. We don't want that. I want equity, just like you said. It is the same thing. It's just like, I want to be able to have what you have. I want to be able to have the land. I want to be able to have access. All these different things that I don't want to be equal to you. But it's just like, but for me, when I date, and women, yes, I want equal pay, but I don't necessarily want to be equal as a man. There's just shit that you can't do, and there's things that I can do that men can't do. And that's just, and it's just as simple as that.
And
but,
for me, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was period. Go ahead, you had a
Oh my gosh. No, for me, I even think of it even differently than that. It's like, first of all, breaking down the equal part. I don't want to be equal to you because the only thing that white people have historically, currently, and to come is their violence.
Yeah.
Everything that they have that they've attained, whether it's power, money, whatever, their supremacy has been received and inherited through generations of violence. So I definitely don't want to be equal to that. But more so, what I want is to live in a world where all of these constructs have been abolished. That's what I want, abolition. I want to rewrite this shit. I want to reimagine life as is. I want to see life in the otherwise, because the shit that white people have created, it is harmful, and it is no type of life that serves us. When you think about even the way that the system of work is set up, your body becomes a machine. You don't have time to rest. You work until you're 70 and then live for maybe another decade and die. It's just an ongoing cycle of violence, which has been, there's different tiers of violence. And that violence, which is a part of the white supremacy umbrella, the raindrop that comes out as is capitalism. And the way that your body performs under a capitalist society is so violent. So no, I don't even want that shit. What I want is to reimagine this shit and tear the shit that y'all built down, because it does not serve me. It serves the white supremacist agenda.
Yes.
Preach. Look.
Look. I know he get it. I
know. Look, this is amazing.
I'm like, my soul is like on fire right now.
I love it. Class is in session.
It really is. And I think the issue why we have such a hard time as a people, Cameron, y'all, is also from St. Louis. He did move away.
I did.
But if you didn't move away, we wouldn't know our beautiful KC. But when I really think about, like, we talk about how ass backward things are, and when we look to home and how we just can't even have a club. People coming through. People coming through shooting. It was a new club that just closed. That's my Tahir's cousin's club. I saw a video where these niggas rolled up in this spot. They was outside shooting. It was like the Wild Wild West. And we really think about, how does this even happen to us? How can we overcome this as a collective? What are the conversations? How do we start the conversations amongst each other where it's like, okay, y'all, at some point this shit is getting old. Like, we are reaching out, we're asking all these people for help, but we're not looking to each other to help each other.
Right.
So it's like, let's just say this, in an ideal world, what we are talking about, how would you start that conversation amongst our people? How can we come together? I know we're talking Black, but that's white, but
right. So I don't know if Chief is gonna actually have a lot to say about this, but I'm gonna start it. We're gonna play ping pong.
Okay, please. Because I'm like, Cash is like, preach. I'm like, man, if you don't say something, sir.
No, that's okay. This is how we do.
Because
I'm gonna start it off.
Okay. Because I'm like, I have ideas. Like, these are conversations that I've had amongst, like, peers that are involved in trying to create a better space in St. Louis, and not just in St. Louis and other parts of the country. So it's like, okay, how do we even start this? Because I don't want to be reaching out to celebrities, because we live a different life. I think there's certain things, like, it is when you reach a certain tax bracket, regardless of what you may think you might know, you low-key are so far removed. And you can't relate to us no more. And I'm not saying that you can't relate, but what I mean is, it's like, Like how Puffy was like, Black
you
people
have
need
different lived experiences.
Exactly.
But
and
there should always be redistribution of, but that's a whole nother thing.
But we know that ain't how that go. But because just like how Puffy had said last year, he felt like Black people should withhold their vote. I'm like, okay, so I hear you. I get what you're trying to say, but it's a little too late in the game to be doing that bullshit. I feel like celebrities can't speak up for me because we live a different life. And I
believe that nobody can speak for you because I withheld my vote and I don't care what anybody has to say about it because I believe in abolition. I don't believe in performing in a system that is supposed to serve white people. I mean, Look at who y'all voted for.
Hey, at this point, look.
look at who you voted for. Hey. And people were calling me the C word. I'm working on also moment here, working on hold myself accountable for using ableist language. So I'm trying not to say the C word. But people want to call me.
No, don't say it. Don't say it. We'll talk about it after.
I'm like, wait, somebody.
So delusional is what I'll substitute that for. So I'm like, y'all are calling me that for making a decision, not to participate in performed democracy. Right.
Over here really trying to figure out the C word because if it ain't C-U-N-T, I don't know what it is. I'm really having
no. It's a word that people use to like talk about people being sick, like you silly, you wild. It's in our everyday language, but I ain't
gonna say you that. No,
I can't say it.
That's an extreme, by the way. That's a very huge. That's an extreme.
What you say?
When they
that other word. Okay. Yeah, that's an extreme. That's weird.
No, but I'm like, I don't choose to participate in perform democracy. There's literal laws right now that green light modern day slavery. I mean, look at the prison industrial complex, 13th Amendment. Like, this is what I'm voting into. And my thing is, I don't have to say nothing no more. Look at who y'all voted for.
Yeah.
Look at it. Look at all the shit he's done. And how amazing he's made. Motherfuckers was arguing, trying not to give your ass a funky $1,000 in the middle of a global pandemic. Look at who you voted for. So to me, I don't believe in the two or lesser evils because I don't want to vote for anyone evil. I want to abolish all of this shit. And the problem is people always look to people who are quote unquote more radical for answers or the solution to liberation. And the fact of the matter is nobody has a solution. We only have ideas and ways to strategize, but it's only found within the collective. It's only found within true communal power, because that's the only type of power we should ever be seeking, is power within each other. So with that being said, we were talking about the Diddy thing and celebrities not being able. Hold on, what was your question?
Her question was, how do we reach this otherwise possibility of the world?
So I think that the answer is within community. And first of all, making sure that community understands certain things. The first thing that unlocked my questioning, not necessarily my questioning, but really got me deep into like real life, was the term or the phrase decolonize your mind. So we can't even explain to one another that we have a problem if we can't recognize what the problem is. The problem is we live in a colony. You know what? And it's not just the land, it's our minds. We don't even understand the violence, why there's violence, like intra-communal violence against each other. Because I don't believe in black on black crime. That's some bullshit. All crime within communities of the same color happen at the same rates. However, the things that have happened, being poor, being subjected to worse living conditions, that all kind of is, tied to having to steal because you ain't got shit. Having the feeling like you have to kill. You don't ever have to kill. But I'm just saying these are all part of this institution called racism. But nobody even recognize, not nobody, but many people don't even recognize the root problem, which is it's mental. I don't understand that. I don't know how to deal with my trauma, and my reaction to that is being in the streets.
Yeah.
It's mental.
Yeah. I believe in every point in history we had someone to speak up. So whether that's somebody on radio or on a podcast or in music or in television, you have to get someone with a big platform to speak up. And I know you're saying that you probably can't reach out to celebrities, but there are a lot of celebrities or people who with popularity that know what's going on, and someone has to speak up. There was a Martin Luther King, there was Malcolm X, there was so many major figures. So these people have to stand up for all of us to come together, because those are the people that are looked to from us to change. They're the ones who everyone looked to in order to know how to move in life, basically. So I do believe it's in reading books as well. You have to read books to decolonize your mind. You have to do research for yourself.
You have to do work.
You have to do work.
Yes.
But I also do believe that you have to just question society. Don't ever take anything for face value. Know that there is always something, underneath it. And there's a lot of people who question. Everybody questions society. Everybody. In some way or another.
Yeah.
But then they flip it around and say, well, this is what it is. Well, this is what it is. Your kids won't have no way to survive this thing. And if this is what it is, then all the people that came before you, their lives were in vain, because you wouldn't even be here if they didn't decide to leave the during the slavery times, if they didn't go to the Underground Railroad to get themselves to a better place.
Right.
Their lives would be in vain. So you have to literally think about all of these different ways, but it is a collective healing.
Right. And like he said, giving the example or the analogy of during slavery, them people had no idea how they were going to get to where they were going. No. But they, in the collective, they figured out ways. And like I said, it's all of our answers are within collective power and within unity and the people in each other.
So yeah.
And as far as celebrities,
and let me rephrase that.
As far as these damn celebrities, this is what I hate about celebrity culture, because celebrity culture is such a distraction. Yeah. I will never understand for the life of me, and I'm not saying we can't be a eccentric or eclectic, I should say, group of people with multiple things that interest us. But I will never understand how all somebody can talk about is pop culture, or what somebody wore to the Met Gala, and there's a whole fucking war going on right now in Palestine. I'm like, hello, why are you sending me memes? It's cool. I'm not saying, obviously we need to take moments and breaks because it's traumatic, but goddamn, when you're just unaware of anything that's going on, y'all don't know that global warming is happening in real time.
In real time.
I mean, I talk about all kinds of stuff, pop my coochie online, all of that. I love it. But at the same time, I am a part of this ecosystem.
Yes.
We have to be a little bit more intentional about taking in things that are related to humanity.
That serves us.
I mean, I think that the word that, like you said, the key word is intentional. A lot of people don't understand the concept of what that even means, because we see and deal with so much fuck shit because we are so consumed, like you said, by pop culture, by the futurisms, the Drakeisms of society, and what that audience that appeals to. And so sometimes I try to give people a little grace, just like we try to give our parents grace. We are unlearning things generationally that were engraved into our bloodlines. But it goes back to some people just don't care. Some people just are, and that's very unfortunate. And those are the main people that are hooping and hollering for change, but they don't want to do the work that it entails. Just like you said, people need to read. People don't fucking read.
Yeah.
And it's just something as simple as that. Like I talk about, I sit literally there'll be days where Cameron and I'm like, Cameron, I don't understand how people can't read. Like a simple email, and it's just like a 3-line email. And how did you get that from that? So think about a book, a text,
right.
And how complex that becomes for people. You know what I mean? Right. So it's so much work to do, and I think people are waiting for somebody to hand certain things to do it for them.
And that's the thing. Bea Richards said something once, and she said, "Fight for your people. They fought for you." Mm-hmm. And then she goes on to say, "And it was some shit, but you do not betray your people. Yes, don't betray." We have to fight, and like you said, there is so much room for grace, right? So this is the part of talking about this that always makes me uneasy, because I come across like sounding like I'm so merciless, and I don't I completely understand the permeating violence of white supremacy, the violence that just looms over us as as a people, not as just the people, but just in the entire world.
Because it comes from different everybody. And I just want to say this right here. When we say the entire world, we really do mean that. And I want other people of other creeds and nationalities to understand that racism exists toward Black people on all fronts, because you guys are conditioned and you subscribe to white supremacy. So we get mistreated a lot. We see it. The photos as recent as early this week, those ain't white people. It ain't just white people on those horses. So I want to say that right now. And I feel like that's not talked about enough. So when they talk about people of color, I don't relate to that, because I feel like I'm just Black.
Yeah, you are. Because what you're talking about is, once again, that echoing violence of white supremacy. So that violence affects all people and actually influences how other people view us, even though they love our culture and they take everything from us and they see all this magic. But that violence that white people, that violence that white people find all their privilege and access and all that shit to, which is racism. In other cultures, when they project it against us, is anti-Blackness, because now you're being a myrmidon of white supremacy.
My soul is on fire. Can I just say that one more time?
So
that's good.
And it's so funny to me, because I'm like, I'm glad your soul is on fire. I'm like, it amazes me to see non-white people try to act the way that white people act to us, because I'm like, this anti-Black shit, what you don't even understand is that the liberation that you're seeking, because white people treat y'all like hell. Nobody is treated like Black people. But even the liberation that you're seeking is found within Black liberation. Yep. So you being an agent of white supremacy ain't even serving you.
Yo, sorry, these songs and notes that I'm hitting up for Cameron songs, by the way. Cameron is the most, oh my God.
Dang, what song?
Nigga, I was like, that's from Don't Make Me.
Okay, so let me just say this. So first of all, I'm gonna say something. First, I hope you edited this audio.
Yes.
You not?
Okay.
Wait, what you mean?
You ain't gonna chop some of this up?
What? This is very raw and real.
Okay, no, it's raw and real. I'm just saying, because I don't want to, because we gonna have a little girl talk too.
We can go. We can go. We can start it. We can go. Now we can start.
I'm gonna censor it, because I don't want you posting everything, child.
What you got on your mind, friend?
What you got on your mind, friend?
Let me just say this. I just released a song, everybody that's listening, and I want y'all to know, if y'all download, purchase the song, Take 5, at the end of the live track, you're gonna hear somebody going the fuck off. And y'all want to know who it is? It's my good Good Judy with the pink hair right now. Now I think it's a podcast, so y'all can't see us. But Dominique got pink hair right now and burgundy lips, looking so cute on my little screen. That's her running her mouth on the end of.
Hey, but did I lie? Did I lie? Did I lie?
You didn't lie, but it was also because of the passion. Dominique, let me tell y'all, Dominique is a real fucking friend.
Right.
She is.
Baby, I'm listen. I want y'all to understand this. If I feel like I am, and sometimes I'm too passionate of a friend, and I understand that, and that is something I'm working on. Because I look at my friends like my baby cub. Sometimes I'm like a mom, and I just want what's best for everybody. But I understand that sometimes a mama might have to eat her cubs.
You know what?
No.
No, there's a such thing. It's hyping your friends up too much.
I am a fan. I am a die-hard fan. Well, I tell you, if you go on, first of all, when you go to Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you listen to music, at Amazon, please search Cameron, save him, subscribe. I don't know how you do that. I know what you do for podcasts, but I think you can subscribe or set an alert. But Cameron is that fucking good. When I say he comes from, oh my God, like royalty, his mama sang back up. But fucking, correct me if I'm wrong, Luther Vandross.
No, that's you talking about KC's aunt. No, we have another friend. No, we do. We have another friend whose aunt sang for Luther. No, my mom did studio backgrounds for a few people. Mary J.
Yes.
And she has her own gospel career and theater career and a long list of things. Great accomplishments. My mommy.
Okay. So confusion. My bad. But y'all, first of all, let me tell y'all, we're at Cameron's birthday party. I know I got a sidebar. So we're at Cameron's birthday party. We just singing the regular dry happy birthday. Do you know his mama came in and shut the shit down?
You know what?
And I was just like, my God. It was like she opened her mouth and God came out of it. So when Cameron opens his mouth, it's like, Jesus, you know, there's levels to it. Yeah, there's levels to it. But that's just how I am as a friend. Like, I want everybody, because it's enough space for us to win. Yes. It's so much space for all of us to win. When I saw you speak the other day, Cash, I was just like, even just the tone, what you were saying, and I was just like, damn, like, he ain't lying. You know what? You know what I mean? So there's this, and like you said, magic, Black magic, and what Black people exude. Yes. We're aware of our magic. Mm-hmm. We're aware of our magic.
I feel like a lot of us are, and then
a lot of us are.
So many who aren't tapped into.
Are not.
Right.
They're in the 3D world.
They're in the 3D world. But it's so complex, and that's the thing. That's what we were actually talking about. So while there's so much room for grace, it's so complex because there are people who aren't growing because even when opportunity presents itself, when information presents itself, people make conscious decisions to
not learn.
To not learn.
That's it. They don't want to learn. They want to stop at their job in high school.
Right.
And it sucks because we're to evolve and grow.
Exactly. You could point
out. But that's the one
fact.
thing, and that's hard for me to understand because I understand that's one thing that's constant in life. Change. We evolve. We see it all the time. Like, you know, it's simple. We talk about the evolution of a butterfly and how it starts off as this caterpillar and it goes into its cocoon until it's time. And then it's like, oh my God. So when I think about even something that's, when I go home, I'm like, I see it and I'm like, it's so much talent. It's so much everything there. And you get caught up in just like the normalcy of the bullshit that you've been conditioned to live in. And you don't know how. I remember going back one time, and my friend was had me come speak to his camp when he was working for the Y. And it was a lot of like, you know, Black kids, kids of other nationalities, mainly Black kids. And, you know, like the first question was like, how did you get out? Or how did you know? And I'm like, you know, what to do? And I said, I didn't know how I was going to get to LA. I just knew I was going. I knew at some point the stage would set itself. I laid the foundation for it. And I just, the moment I could, you know, I was and y'all understand this because Catch, where you from?
Philly.
Oh,
Philly.
Yes.
So it's like an old school kind of, normally I call it like a Midwestern way of thinking, but it's kind of like just our baby boomer way of thinking, our parents. And they think the only way for us to be successful in life is to go to college, is to graduate with a degree. And even what I majored in, just to even start, like niggas be making like 25 to 30K in journalism and in broadcast journalism.
Wow.
So I was like, my degree was 50K. And I'm like, so I spent all of this time. Now I'm not gonna knock my training because I got excellent training, which is how I'm here. But I went to school. I took classes. I took marketing. I took PR because those were the things that interest me. I took journalism because I knew that I wanted to be on TV. And so, so I did get the formal training, and it took a while to step into who I am supposed to be. And this moment, what we're doing now is supposed to be. And so I think the thing is, it's just like allowing kids space to be creative. Creativity can make you millions of dollars. We see that shit every day. And just being confident, and you know, fear comes, but you have to move through that, and it's gonna be okay because it's already written. And so I think that the conversation is guiding kids and say, hey, what you seeing out here every day is fucking tough, but you gotta keep pushing. Keep your head down, but keep it up. Keep your head up, you know, but just like keep a low profile and stay out of shit, because, which is still hard to say, because we know a lot of kids too are dealing with different vices thrown at them, situations thrown at them, where it's like, it could be a mom that could be, you know, on drugs, a dad might be in jail, they could be being taken care of by a, you know, a sick grandmother or grandfather, and they have to,
scenarios that could be real.
And so
with that,
but we also know people that have dealt with those situations firsthand and they make it out okay. So it's just keep pushing and persevering too. It's fucking tough. It's fucking, life is fucking hard. Like let's not lie about that shit. Life is fucking hard, and life is short, and sometimes life can be very long and complex. But I just encourage people to follow your dreams, like, because you can make that shit a fucking reality, regardless of how you get there. Wherever your path, everybody don't have that smooth path. We ain't had a smooth path, but you're gonna get there.
Yeah, and it sucks because people should have a smooth path, because I don't believe that the purpose of life was for anybody to struggle, you know.
Exactly.
But the realities of, you know, the world that has been created through violence, people struggle. There's Black people who are living in poverty. There's Black people who have been living, you know, generationally in ghettos, and in, you know, just such inhumane conditions. So yes, that is all a reality. But you said something earlier. I wanted to quote it exactly. I want to get the exact quote right, so I'm gonna think on it a little bit. But you said something. It was really great.
Oh, I said something great. You know, I be dropping gems, but it be happening so fast.
No. Oh, you said it's hard. You know, it was hard. You didn't know how you were going to get to LA. Oh shit! Did my thing went out?
Nuh-uh, you fine. No, you actually stay right there. Just stay like that.
Okay, cool.
But Cash, you giving me all chest here.
Oh, cause she.
Oh, when I thought it was. Are we supposed to be? You seeing our faces and everything on this thing?
I have a YouTube.
I've been trying. Go ahead, baby.
Okay. No, you said I don't know how I'm gonna get there, but I'm gonna get there. And I feel like that is also tied to the answer to the other question. I don't know how we gonna get free, but we gonna get there. So that to me was like a revelation in that moment. I don't know. We don't have the answers, to this thing called life. We don't have the answers to liberation, but with diligence and with, collective struggle, and not struggle being put on the individual, but collective struggle. If you hurting, I'm hurting. And that is for real, Dominique. We see Black people hurting. We hurt. Hurt. We live downtown LA. I have to step over bodies to get to the grocery store. That
I think,
shit hurts.
I think every time I leave y'all place is a very humbling experience. And there was one night in particular, y'all had a party. And Cameron and Cash, they live downtown. Like, I don't know what floor, but it seems like when you come there, it's like y'all deluxe apartment in the sky, yeah. I didn't say where y'all live. I'm just saying. Okay. So when you come down that elevator and you go out the door, it's like shit. Because you guys are blocks from Skid Row. Like you said, you do step over people. And it's just like, wow. It brings you back down. Yeah. And you realize even the little things that we had, somebody don't have a house that they can go to and be warm. Right. Yeah. I feel like that. I think that night that it really resonated with me was New Year's one year, because I wore my fur coat. Yeah, my fur coat over your house. And I came down and I came out and I was like, wow, like, this is crazy. And we forget that sometimes, that, I mean, we all been through our situations out here where it has just been like, ooh, do I need to go home, or I'm gonna tough it out and I'm gonna keep pushing. But man, that also reminds you how real mental illness is as well, which is something that is still very taboo in our community.
But you know what, Dominique, I just want to touch on something really quick. My apologies. But we're talking about the struggle, right? There are a lot of Black people who are not only billionaires and millionaires, but people we know in different in our families or in other people's families that have money. People have to realize we help each other. Collective. This doesn't have to be this hard struggle if we help each other. Millionaires, billionaires, Black people, we all are in this together. Yep. This is our journey together. We all came from the Creator. People have to think about it. We are all connected. So you are doing this to your people as well. Yeah. That's the thing about it, that we have to help each other. And I don't give a damn if it's financially, because let me tell you, this little boy here, if I had billions of dollars, most of it will be given away. Yeah. I want everyone to win, everyone to be okay, because we can do it. And we're put on this earth to share. I always tell Cameron, God is the creator. If God wanted us to be selfish, we could have all had our own planet. No. Y'all are here to share. Yeah. And I'm gonna show you what love is. I put another human body here to show you what love is and caring. And there's a quote that says, I see humans, but no humanity. People don't understand humanity. It's benevolence. It is sympathy. It is sharing. You don't know what humanity is. You're a robot. It's compassion. Yeah. Somebody said to me today, Cash, there's so many things going on in the world, but I thank you for checking up on me. Like, your compassion is amazing. Excuse me? We're humans. We should all have compassion for each other, and we would not be in the shit we're in today. So if there's anybody who's watching or listening and has money, give that shit away, because you don't own any of it and you cannot take it with you.
And I'm gonna piggyback off of that. we live in a society where we have, honestly, money is useful. But the issue is when people hoard excessive amounts of money as if that isn't harmful. We all know that the only way for someone to be what we call mega wealthy is for someone else to be extremely poor. And then that poverty trickles to different levels, right? But mega wealth is usually at the top of a triangular pyramid. So only a few people are able to have access to this if the majority don't. So that is the issue with hoarding millions and millions of dollars and thinking that you're helping because you give out $50,000 to people here and there. And I'm like, that's nothing. It's so unbelievable to me that people would even think that they need that much in life. How do you even need this much? And to me, at that point, that's why I just say some people, not it, and that this is where the complexity comes in, because it's sad. Because I see even Black people live, well, I don't have any sympathy for white people. But so
I love it.
I'm talking about white people right now. I mean, Black people right now.
Right.
But Black people who are so wealthy,
filthy rich,
who are so wealthy and living like pigs because I'm getting more. I'm closing more deals. I'm doing, and nobody, no one person, no 10 people, no 500 people need that much in life. And when you look at the world around you, the struggle of humanity in general, but Black people, I could never live with that much, knowing that so many of my people don't have anything at all. It just doesn't make sense to me. And I'm not looking for one person. I ain't talking about one specific person. I'm not looking for a specific person to be the solution, because that isn't, a solution either. What I'm talking is about the way that we think as a collective, about money and about the goal becoming a bit. That's not a goal.
No.
Sometimes I think
we need it, I guess, right now in the realities of the world. Of course, I want to live a decent life, but I do not need an overabundance of things.
No.
Because she just shared a post with me yesterday that said, I see people, what does it say?
It says that people were made to be loved and things were made to be used. But people are being used and things are being loved.
And that is even the idea and the obsession with wealth and money and grinding and all of that. That is Eurocentric. That comes from white folks. We are a spiritual people. Yes, the realities of the world now, in order to blah, 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 until it's abolished, we need money, right? So of course it would be great to have things, but I don't need $20 billion. Just hoarding and building and eating, and I'm full and more. And I'm gonna invest in this and it's gonna sell in 10 years for $8 million. Just more and more and more. And it's a woman right outside my apartment right now begging. For some coffee.
Or a drink of water.
And what pisses me off is when people try to put the weight of white supremacy and the violence, of white supremacy on the individual. Well, get a job. Or you can, what? What do you mean? Like I heard somebody say, we have to stop using the word homeless. Nobody is homeless because we all have a home. This planet. You think God created life and there's lack? No. These people are houseless.
Yeah.
Because
I think they changed the word to like transient.
Yes.
But I think, I think what happens with Black people a lot of times when they reach a certain status is that we live in a space of scarcity a lot. And especially when you grow up, and that's what happens. And I think that's how they get to those places. Because you meet people that are very wealthy and you don't know, but they don't share. I'm not gonna call them cheap, but they cheap. They
don't share.
And so people, and so we've all experienced on some sort of level encountering these people. And I think that's what kind of happens when it comes to us, because we're so used to lacking. And I don't even have a response, but I just know that we're so used to not having. So when we have a lot, we're like, even if we spend a little amount, we're so used to things just flipping on us so quick. And we're used to things just going away and struggling for certain things. Like we said, we're taught in life, love, relationships, friendships, that in order to obtain these things, there is a struggle. And we recognize and understand, especially now, a lot of us are realizing when it comes to dating and friendships, that it don't have to fucking be complex. If it's hard and if it's making you work for it, maybe it's not for you. Now, I think we have to get in the space of recognizing that, hey, that might not be it. There's a lot of red flags there. That don't mean that you're gonna get to the mountaintop with that person, because that mountaintop might be a shit show. But I think that's what happens with us a lot. Why we don't spend, why we have certain people in certain statuses that don't give back and that don't do certain things because of that still trauma.
And you know what? That even goes back to what I said. The first step to any type of liberation, to any type of freedom, is decolonizing your mind. Because even those ideas come from the violence of white supremacy, the idea of scarcity, the idea of individualism, the idea of self-sufficiency. I have to think about me. We come from a people that believed in community.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, and we're all on here raised on community.
You think about indigenous culture. This is how. Woo, child! I'm about to get hot.
Come on!
I mean for you to get hot. You're gonna take your do-rag off. You're gonna take your do-rag off. You're hot.
Let me give you an example of the violence of white supremacy. This is a form of, because people think of the word violence and they think, oh, somebody slapped you in the face or somebody shot you. Right. No. Let me talk about this institutional violence, right? And this ain't even really everything. It all has to do with each other, but. Let me just get into this first. I was recently talking to Kashif and another person about, I just got so irritated. We were watching the show with Regina Hall. I can't remember the name of it, but it's Regina Hall's in it, and we love her.
9 Strangers.
9 Strangers. We love her. So
I heard that was good though.
Right. Well, let me get one thing. So we didn't even get through the first episode because of me, and probably because of Kashif too. Right. But I was so pissed to see them going to take this ayahuasca trip with Nicole Kidman, this white woman. And I'm like, even this is the violence of white supremacy. And let me explain why. When you think about African and indigenous traditions and cultures, whether it's voodoo, whether it was tarot reading, whether it was astrology, whether it was burning incense or lighting sage to cleanse your space, or taking an ayahuasca trip, hell, shrooms, using things from the earth, all of those practices were weaponized against us, were weaponized against indigenous people, and we were told that they were dark, they were demonic, all of our spiritual practices were satanic. And now white people have just let decades and decades and century go by and completely switched that shit around and made it a consumerist market. Because guess what? Everybody reads tarot cards now. Everybody doing yoga. You know, yoga was demonic for a while. Everybody's doing yoga. Everybody's into astrology. Everybody, Urban Outfitters got incense now. Everybody likes things. So the very things that we were demonized for, the things that we were stripped away from, to the point where we don't even have a recollection of true, real history because of erasure. Now, this is the violence of white supremacy. Now there's a market and we're making money. And it's the same thing. We can even take it to a smaller scale of something that we witnessed in our time be taken away from us and weaponized against us. Weed.
Yeah.
This motherfucker's in jail today for having that much.
Yep.
And we could walk around the corner. I bet you these people making hand over fist at these damn shops. So when I talk about violence and when I talk about the complexities about finding solutions in this institution, it is so deep and so complex and so hard because the violence is so insidious and unimaginable and beyond anything that we can create because we ain't that damn low and evil. However, the first step is recognizing this violence, which is decolonizing your mind. Recognizing that the reason that we believe in scarcity, that's because that was a white, teaching. Recognizing that this, and I'm not just talking, this is true. When white people colonized Hawaii, when white people took African people, when white people colonized this land, they brought missionaries over and taught them the ideas of individualism and self-sufficiency. Mm-hmm. Told them that there was weakness within community. So this is all violence that we're witnessing, right, in the current zeitgeist. Mm-hmm. Hold up, bitch, I'm preaching.
Come on, you've been preaching.
I'm like, look, fix that do-rag, fix your hair. Okay, sis, go.
So it's so complex, and I don't know everything. No, I wouldn't even say I know 1% of anything, but I'm just so on fire about talking about this because the most amazing, or not the first thing, and the thing that will get this door open for reimagining life and finding healing and finding freedom and liberty is recognizing the problem, which is the mind, and recognizing that all this shit, all these illusions, all this shit that is blocking humanity from thriving, literally is the echoing violence of my oppressors. Even global fucking warming. Think about the way that white people have used the earth down to absolutely nothing. The damn Amazon forest was on fire last year. That is a forest that creates 20% of the entire world's oxygen. There have been carbon dioxide because of big companies and the industrial revolution has destroyed the earth so bad. Within the industrial revolution happened 200 years ago. Earth has been here 4.5 billion years. Within a blink of an eye or less, we have managed to put a hole in the ozone layer, the thing that's keeping Earth from burning alive from the sun, a protective layer. So when I say white supremacist violence has distracted us and disrupted every single part of nature and life, I mean it. It's not me just saying, pro-Black. No, I'm talking about real life violence. This earth is burning right now because of white supremacy. Mm-hmm.
Destruction. But people do have to understand that you cannot decolonize your mind by being on Instagram all day.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, it's a rabbit hole. The internet is a distraction. It is a rabbit hole. TikTok is a rabbit hole. People have to understand the TV. They're not going to put smart TV on there for you. I mean, it's not going to be shows that really give you informative. So you have to get into the books, get into your people books, Assata Shakur, Malcolm X. You got to get into science. You have to get on Liberated Magazine and get our Patreon. Seriously, we're teaching on there.
Yeah.
We're teaching.
And we're teaching through the give and take. That's what I want to keep reiterating. It's not because we know everything.
No.
I don't know a tenth of what the people that I admire, the James Baldwins, this, I don't know half of what they knew, and they didn't know everything. Right. But it is within these little communities, because there's other people just like us, other people who know way more than us. But finding your pocket, finding your tribe, finding your community, and building from there. Because I'm telling you, liberated, we find comfort and love and joy within the community that we created. And it's not because of us. It's because of the sharing of information that's being taking place.
Yeah. I think, like we said,
well, look, Dominique.
We can't stress it enough, because we see it every day. On Instagram, the misinformation, the false information, the crazy things that get said. And it's like, whoo. But when we think, even when we think about religion, a lot of people ain't read the Bible cover to cover. I'm one of those people. And I'm like, and and a lot of us are on a different journey. I think us moving here, experiencing life and knowing the real from the fake, and we know how certain things are used to control our minds. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people like it there. I didn't like it there.
Yeah.
So like, and it's still a working, you know, we're also a work in progress. And I think that's the most frustrating thing when you hear like certain conversations. It's like, who told you? Where'd you get that from?
Listen.
Oh, well, all I saw is, oh. And you just have to take that deep breath, and it's just frustrating.
You hitting the nail on the head, because it is a lot of people that are victims of the violence from their oppressors. But like you said, there are also people who like it there. Because
people like it there.
I can say something as simple as, and of course I'm very spiritual. I believe in some type of creator.
Yeah.
But think about the organized religion and the
abuse that comes
the abuse that I endured. But also, even as a child, I questioned things. I just told somebody, I said, what cracks me up about, and I come from straight up Church of God in Christ Christians shouting all that.
Are you Kojic?
Kojic, baby. Church.
Oh, okay? see, St. Louis, we say Kojic. Sorry, okay, sorry, Coach.
But
that may be the West Side. I mean, sorry.
You know what? But when I like break down little things, even as a child, things that just like don't make sense. Like, okay, God loves me so much. God loves you so much that because of course God is a gender, because that makes sense. Because I'm sure when God goes to the bathroom, he has to stand up because gender is so significant. But
I thought God was a woman.
But that's my point. The fact that we even gender God, the fact that we even gender God, like God gets up and stands up and uses the bathroom and is holding and shaking. Gender is a human attribution. You know what I'm saying? How are we going to put a human limitation on a being that is spiritual? So even that's my mind as a child. But I told somebody recently, I said, God loves us so much that they created us just to worship them. I love you. So that's like saying I'm having a kid, and I love my child that's coming so much that their sole purpose is to serve me. And if you don't serve me, I'm gonna burn you for all the time. Like, how sociopathic and narcissistic is that for me to create you just so you can worship me? And it's because I love you so. Oh, but by the way, if you don't worship me and serve me and do all the things that this book that I left here says that are so suppressing and repressing and oppressive, then there is an eternal punishment. That is even a human construct, that there's a punishment for not obeying me, because the whole idea of dominion and dominance and owning, and that's even white.
Yeah.
Indigenous people recognize from the day one, we don't own this land.
Yeah.
This is an ecosystem. So I'm like, y'all, ooh. So the point was,
we ain't gonna show your mama and your grandmama this, okay?
Right. The point was, there's so much conditioning, right? But like you said, you could point out something that's that simple and that's that obvious that will make somebody go, oh yeah, that doesn't make sense. And people will still choose to be stuck because the term is true. Ignorance is bliss. To choose to ignore something means that I don't have to deal or confront these things that I've been taught my whole life that may make me a little uncomfortable.
Until
I think the first area of questioning, I was probably like about 7, 6 or 7. And I'm like, that just hurt. I'm like, that don't make sense. Or
for 7.
And then especially as you evolved and they taught you about like different religions, and then how I'm like, but why do all these people, if you're telling me, I was like, so you're telling me that there's only one right way? I'm a little drunk.
And we high.
Okay, it's a party. And I remember I'm like, that just doesn't make sense. Like, so I had a hard time low key ever since that moment as a kid. I'm like, but y'all telling me that all these different religions, and then but my way is the only right way, but why do people do this? And then you're saying that I have to marry this type of person because then if I marry somebody from another religion, it's not honor. God doesn't recognize. Somebody help me. This ain't
So
it.
the stuff that they tell you is just so ridiculous. I remember even as a child, I asked somebody, because this is my little child now. I did have an advanced mind, but my point is that still don't make it no difference. If my ass was asking questions, I know that out of 8 billion people that are living now, one of y'all motherfuckers was asking.
Yeah.
So this is my little mind. Because you know that in church, at least in the way that we grew up with the word and all that, is the only way that you inherit the kingdom of God, blah, blah, is through salvation. You gotta be saved. But I used to think, I remember somebody got into a car accident and they were a child. They were like my age and they died with their mom. And I knew that I hadn't done the stuff, confess with your mouth, believe in your heart. Blah, blah, blah. So I asked my Sunday school teacher, so what happens to the kids? Like, because I knew in my mind, a child doesn't have any idea of, you know, salvation. So I can even pinpoint that without putting language to it because I was very young. So what happened to the kid? And I will never forget, they told me, well, if the parents are saved, they go in heaven.
They just make
so I'm like, this is what y'all believe in. So that's what I'm saying. Y'all don't even understand what you believe in. And what is that called? That's what you call superstition. Stevie Wonder told y'all ass that when you believe in things you don't understand, you suffer. Superstition ain't the way. You don't even know, and it's fine. You're never gonna know all the answers. But to tell somebody, oh yeah, well, you know, they'll go to heaven if his parents are saved. Y'all
so they, I'm like, so you telling me if they parents not saved, they all just damn to hell? Like,
yeah. So I'm like, do y'all really believe in this shit? I just. That's yeah. Some people choose to wear collars and handcuffs. And what I meant,
I do in the bedroom.
A yoke. I didn't mean collars like a dog. I mean a yoke, meaning that you choose to be in bondage.
Yeah.
You choose to be shackled because mentally it's okay to say and just say, oh, you know, if a child asks you that, even if you never thought about it, that's going to provoke your mind. Oh, damn, what do happen to the kids? You're just going to say, so you, to me, those are the people that are making those decisions. I'm staying here.
I think when it comes to things like that, especially on a community, that is a journey of self-discovery. We all go through that because we clearly all went through that as we moved away from what we knew and trying to figure out who we are as a people. And so it's been an interesting journey. My sister keeps calling. And I just feel that, like we said, it's a lot of unlearning that we have to do. A lot. And I would like for people to do the work. I would hope that they would want to do the work. But I know that's not the case.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this, Dominique, and I'm saying this at all of our shows that we have. Everyone plays a central role in creating this world. Everyone plays a central role in the history of this world. So whether they know it or not, they are a part of making this hell. They are a part of destroying their children. So that's going to be on them, not on the people that's doing the work.
Yeah.
And that is speaks to even complacency. And that doesn't mean that you're literally actively going out and making life hell, but even being complacent.
Right.
In your way of thinking, in your way of being. The word means be means to exist. Your way of existing. If it's complacent and you know what the fuck is going on,
you're a part of the problem.
You are contributing to the realities of the world. And like I said, no, it's not like we just can wake up and demolish or abolish white supremacy. Absolutely not. But we have to be active and we have to be intentional about figuring out what our role is.
Yeah. I think a lot of people feel like they don't know what to say or how or what to do per se, or they feel like if they stay out of the way, like even I remember having to explain Emmett Till to a coworker, a brown coworker.
Bird?
Yes. I had to pull up.
Ooh.
I will. Well, I told you, I will never forget the day that
I already.
Right.
And this person is about to be 60 years old, not even aware of what happened, and the bullshit that still happens to this day at that lake. White people coming through and shooting up the sign, chopping the sign down. They had to put the case, the plaque in a bulletproof case so they could stop doing fuck that. But that's what I mean. I'm like, you not speaking up, not getting involved. I'm like, this is what you're a part of. You're on the wrong side of history, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to be accepted and all these different things, but I'm like, hey, I can't trust you.
There you go.
I can't trust you.
Mm-mm.
So whatever happens to you, whatever battle you got going, I don't give a fuck about. But we talk about compassion a lot. Yeah. And I think Black people, we overextend that to people sometimes that really don't give a fuck about us.
Mm-hmm.
We be giving a fuck about everybody else, and we need to be giving a fuck about each other.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that be the thing. People like, well, how do you feel about? I'm like, I really don't give like. I'm fighting my own battles over here. I'm trying to fix shit over here in my old hood.
Right, and by your own battles, you mean with your people, with
my people.
Right.
Because y'all shit done fucked this up a long way. I don't really give a fuck because I'm so far removed from it. Like at the end of the day, I'm like, what the whites do today?
But also, like their problems, I'll be like, what?
I'm like,
what? Like, huh? What are you fucking
what
talking
Blue
about?
Ivy do? Like, bro, like what?
But Dominique, here's my thing. I always say this to Cameron. You don't know what to say or what to do, but every February, people fucking love Black History Month. They put up tons of people from the history, from that helped us to be where we are today. But you don't know what to say. Okay, come on. We got to start thinking. You get it every February. Stop playing with me.
But here's the thing.
To me, they don't get anything. That's performative. Like, posting something doesn't mean that you grasp Malcolm X's mission or what he was saying. You're now operating and performing as a robot because it's February. Oh, it's February. These niggas don't know what to say.
They don't. But here's the thing: is assimilation. But you don't want to. They get upset when you say that. I'm like, no, it's just that you're rooted. You are deeply rooted in that, and we see it. We understand colorism because we've seen what has happened in our community. What people don't talk about is how colorism spreads through far and through a lot of those other communities too, because the lighter you are. It's the same thing how it is here. So they got their own shit. I'm like, so you do know where that comes from, right? Don't you hate it there? Don't you? Okay. All right. I guess I'm being a little dramatic today.
Oops.
It's complex. It's a mess.
Very. Oh, child.
We got into some things today.
I didn't even know. I was just trying to laugh the whole episode.
I
was just playing. I knew what was coming. I love these conversations because I just want people to be very well aware that though I'm very well-rounded, and that it's so much that shit eats. Black shit eats me alive some days. I'm like, man, I just want so much better for us.
Hell yeah.
But we have to want it for ourselves. And that's not on no like, oh, we got to, we can't say Black Lives Matter until we stop killing each other. It ain't even on no shit like that.
Right. No, of course not.
I'm on some shit like, I know we can.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is that I know we can.
Mm-hmm. You gotta tap in. Look at your neighbor and say, you gotta tap in.
Neighbor,
tap in.
Neighbor, come on now.
But you know what? People look at this world, right? Mm-hmm. And they know that we live in hell. They know that it's not fully realized. So if you know that it is not fully realized, what do? Because love is a verb. It is action. Mm-hmm. You take action. Now, I don't know what you're going to do. I can't tell you how to do it, but you take action.
But do you think that people really know?
They don't.
But that's what I'm saying.
Like
that's what now you're teaching. But
some people do.
But that's but when we talk about, when we think about even our experiences, what we've seen growing up, and what we recognize, the conditioning, what we see. And there was a really dope episode of the Table Talk, and it was with like Wale, this guy Justin Maldani that was on Jane the Virgin, and I feel like it was somebody else. But they were talking about the concept of like love and relationships. And people are talking about what happens when you meet a partner or just in general. And we all have this shit. And you come together with this person and that person in this community, and we all got this shit. And you're coming and you're dumping all of that shit on your front lawn. And you're trying to figure out how to maneuver through that shit. It's a lot of healing that has to happen. I even think about from the relationships aspect. I think about why I date the way that I date and why some experiences happen to me. And I realized that shit, this is generational trauma. Mm-hmm. And you have to take a step back and you have to say, hey, I don't want that for myself. Like we said, it shouldn't be this complex. We're human, we're making it complex. What is it that I need from my partner? Can I articulate that? And if I feel like I can't articulate that to that person, that might not be my person. And so as hard as it might be, I might have to relinquish that and let that go. So somebody can come in and love me for me and really understand me and work with me. But a lot of people don't understand the concept. You are so high, Cameron. Your eyes just did this weird rolling thing.
Oh,
you laughing at me.
I'm laughing at this when you said work with me. He said he sang a little line. Work with me.
But I think of things like that, and I'm like, as simple as it is so important to find your person that is equally yoked with you. You will never be consistently chasing something and longing and wanting for something when you meet your person that is for you. Let the bullshit go. But we get caught up in this before social media. It's been like that.
Matrix.
I feel like it's elevated even.
But you said it. It's an assimilation. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's an assimilation. And also, I want to point something out. You see how the three of us are all talking, and like you may say something and say, "Oh, well, I don't see it that way," and da 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 da. These are the types of conversations, right? Finding, or having conversations about liberty or revolutionary or revolution, or whatever it is, that whatever the topic is that we're talking about in order to get to this end goal.
There's no reality.
We're all going to be at different spaces. We all may see certain things differently, but we recognize the common problem, right? Mm-hmm. So get to spaces like this where y'all talking, because she said something. He was like, people see, and I'm like, but do you think they see? Yeah. Get into spaces, open up space for conversation about important shit, not just about TikTok misses.
Yeah.
And it don't mean that everybody that's in your, you will be around like-minded individuals if you're in the right space, but it don't mean that every single point of view will be exact.
Exactly. And that's okay. And that's exactly, that's okay. There, I that's okay to a certain extent.
To a certain extent.
There are certain things where I I can't operate with people if, when it comes to certain things, if we don't have the same views. And mainly for me, that's when abuse.
But not just abuse, but any type of harm or violence. Yes. That's what I mean, which is why I gave the example of Kashif saying people see the world the same. Like, it's okay for me to think, do you think that people actually see the world for what it is? Because I think these bitches is brainwashed. Now, if you're trying to justify harm against somebody, that's another story. That's where we draw the line. Violence, any type of harm, of course.
But and that's for me, that's where I can't.
Yeah.
And in the past year, this pandemic has made people crazy. I'm not gonna say crazy. This pandemic has made people show their true colors. No, it's made them show their true colors. And it's a lot of people that I don't fuck with for that reason. It has nothing to do with views about. It has nothing to do with the pandemic itself. It's just the way that we have seen people respond to certain shit, and I just can't. And so that's cool.
And I fucking agree.
You cool from over there? Can you come over here? No, you can't.
Hell to the no.
Hell no, you can't come over here.
No.
Yeah.
I
gotta have y'all back.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, I didn't even get a chance to hit on the topic that I wanted to.
Arts.
I know.
Get into arts.
We was, and then we got
It's
listen,
always
okay.
Come back to this though, because Dominique, you're doing something incredible.
Yes.
I don't hear many podcasts like this, especially, talking about how could we collectively heal, but mind opening. You got to open these minds.
Yeah.
And this was one of the interviews, and you have many more coming. So I thank you for opening the space.
Yes. Thank you, girl.
I tried. Like I was
ain't trying, you doing.
Look, this is why I created this space. I didn't want to just talk about sex. I wanted to be able to talk about everything, but not like the normal things that we consistently hear about. I was explaining that to my friend the other day, and I was like, "Hey, if I have an athlete on here, I don't want to talk about sports. I don't give a fuck about that shit because I only know so much. But what I do know is how to start a conversation with somebody. Let's really get in your mind, because I'm going to say things to you that you're not going to normally hear. Even if it's an actress, hell, if we, whoever, there are certain things that people crave. And we're in this space now where people crave realness. As much fake is out there, there's a huge group of people that want this realness. And like I said, I joke around, I bullshit. I'll be talking about wanting to peg people. Yes, I'm one of those people. Y'all can get out my fucking DMs about that shit. I'm that bitch.
Oh, don't make me get started with that.
We can get started. Let's start.
Sexual prowess. Y'all know y'all be wanting to play in the men's booties.
Listen. Let's start there. I believe, and I say this all the time, I understand that sexuality is fluid.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we come from a space of where people don't understand what being fluid means. So because they can't stand it and they can't understand it, and it's not in their normal cis hetero boxes, it's all these different things like we talk about. Oh, it's demonic. It is this, it's that.
It's gay. It's
And I'm like, but if you're with whoever your partner is, if you're with a chick, that don't mean y'all niggas is just having a good time.
You said it's not in their cis hetero boxes, but can I tell you what it is in?
What is it in, baby?
It's in their cis hetero bodies, because there is an innate sexual feeling and things that happen, and that doesn't mean everybody wants the same things. Absolutely not. But there are so many ways we suppress ourselves, once again, tied to white supremacy, because there's so much shame around the Black body.
Yep.
Because when you go online, you see these white people doing all kind of freaky shit that I ain't even gonna do, which is cool. Everybody has their kink. But my thing is, what I just said, everybody has their kink, and kinks have nothing to do with your sexuality.
Yep.
If a nigga wants you to blow his booty hole, if he's doing it with a woman, that ain't got shit to do with me. So you're suppressing your own desires and fantasies and actual needs, because it's just a part of your being and who you are and what you like. because you're trying to perform out of a binary or out of a box that was subscribed or prescribed for you. Mm-hmm. And you're subscribing to it. Ooh, tickle them holes.
Look, I'm like, if you want to put your finger in mine, why can't I put my finger in yours? I'm just saying, I'm returning the finger. What's the issue?
If you don't want a finger in yours, that's cool too.
But y'all a dick in yours, let me pick you.
Right?
Dominic!
Yes.
Please don't make me beg to pick you.
Yeah. Don't make me beg for your love.
Cause you know I will. You know I will. Please.
Yes, do.
Oh, well, guys, tell everybody where they can find you. And I'm going to make sure I put the link to this Patreon, everything in the description of this episode. This was such an amazing time.
Thank you, Dominique. So y'all can find us on Instagram and on Facebook, but mostly on Instagram. You can go to @liberated.mag. That's @LiberXted.mag. And with that, you could go to our Patreon, and on our Patreon, we are talking about opening up the mind and liberating the mind, the body, and soul so Black people could live in an otherwise possibility, a better world. Mm-hmm. And we are in the dawning of the age of Aquarius. So we are changing. This world is changing, evolving for the greater good of the people. Yes. So if you want to join this ride, you want to join at liberated.mag's Patreon. Love you all.
And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share the podcast.
Yes.
And y'all know I still got them candles for your ass. Somebody just ordered some from St. Louis today, so I got to drop that in the mail tomorrow.
Y'all want to order her fucking candles. The shit smell good. I got some.
Hey, because I'm selling sex, baby.
You know what?
You know your house stinking. So that's st-angeles.com/candles. And yeah, I'm gonna also put that in the bio as well. Y'all, thank y'all so much for coming in, tuning in. And I shall see y'all next fucking week. Y'all be blessed in them streets.